Success. Media. Network. 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 Network.
This is your show.
Good day, Successors. I'm Antonio Holman, and welcome to the 4 Principles of Success, number 20, where I chat with successful people and entrepreneurs about how they enhance their businesses and lives in the areas of knowledge, health, wealth, and spirituality. Today, we're talking to Jason Galbraith. Jason is from Lancaster, California, and is a podcaster, musician, and former yoga teacher. Jason produces and hosts 2 podcasts, WTF is Success and 3 is Comedy. He's also a drummer in the band called Jesse Vaz and the Velvet Rain, and has been a musician in the Los Angeles area for over 20 years. Jason is currently pursuing acting and comedy, as well as taking classes at the Groundlings in Hollywood, California. Jason, are you ready to help our listeners prepare for success?
I am ready. I am really, really ready.
Great. All right, Jason, so there's your bio there, but we don't know anything about your personal life. How about you let us in on that?
Well, as you read, I've been playing music for about 20 years, drumming and bass, and been doing that a long, long time. Been in quite a few bands, recorded multiple albums, pursued the rock star life out here in Los Angeles, California. What you don't know is that I also have a day job, and I'm married to my beautiful wife, Mindy, who is also a co-host on the 3 is Comedy podcast. We've been married for 15 years. We've been together for, almost 20 now. And very happily married, and have some pretty good ideas on how to have a successful marriage. So, because of a lot of failure in that regard. But yeah, I'm exploring acting. I took acting and drama when I was in high school and fell in love with it, and then drifted away from it, pursuing music. And now I'm coming back to it and really enjoying it, and the comedy aspect of it as well. So
how did you originally really get into being a musician?
I used to go and hang out with some friends at parties, and one of my really good friends was in a band, and I just watched him play, and I just fell in love with it. It was just such a cool thing to be able to see those guys doing that, and I wanted to be one of those guys. I didn't necessarily want to be one of the guys in the audience. I wanted to be one of the guys on the stage. So I bought a bass from my uncle and started plucking and playing, and learning how to do my thing, and then eventually I took a liking to drums, so I spent the money, bought a drum set, and I really didn't look back from there. I played drums mostly at that point.
Yeah, those drums. Yes, I'm a drummer. I love playing drums.
They'll get you, man. They'll get you.
You got that right, man. The energy, the physicality of it all. It feels so good.
Really does. And it also could piss you off if you're really trying to learn how to get better, because it's hard.
Yeah, I remember those days where I'm listening to guys going, how the hell are they doing that? Meanwhile, the answer is practice.
That's it. And I remember one time I was practicing. I was trying to learn something. I forget, because in the beginning you play, all your limbs play at the same time. Mm-hmm. You're trying to learn how to get them to go independent. And so I was working on some independent stuff, and I couldn't get it, and got so pissed off I threw my stick at my closet door, and it stuck in my closet door. So that's how drums, they can piss you off. They really are a very intricate instrument.
Man. For those who may not know, can you tell us about what 3 is Comedy podcast is and the WTF is Success podcast?
I sure can. They're both different. 3 is Comedy is, so if you start off by listening to WTF is Success, and then you listen to 3 is Comedy, like, who the hell is this guy that's on 3 is Comedy? It doesn't sound like the guy in WTF is Success, and I'll explain the reasons why that's a little different. 3 is Comedy is like morning radio. I'm a huge fan of that brand of comedy. Of course, I like all forms of different types of comedy. I even tried stand-up, but morning radio was always something I was really into, especially being in the LA area. We've got a lot of great morning radio shows, and it's talk radio. So I love that kind of goofball comedy. So, and my wife and I both do. So we created this podcast in that kind of with that kind of inspiration in mind, to have it kind of morning radio, to the point now where we're even doing our Friday podcasts are live. So we're really moving in that direction to where, I mean, we could package this and brand it and put it on a morning radio podcast. Of course, you can listen to it at any time. That's the beauty in podcasting. So it could be on your commute, but it's just to give people a little bit of a break, from the stresses and just have a good time and laugh. It's a little pop culture, a little bit of comedy, nice blend. WTF is Success is a discussion about success and my challenges with trying to become successful in my career. And because of that kind of lack of success in that area, I ask my listeners, WTF is Success, because I don't know. I'm trying to find out. So it's really an inquisitive type of thing. It definitely comes from my experiences in yoga and all that. So it's really an exploration. It's really fun. I'm enjoying the heck out of it and learning a lot from my guests.
Awesome. Yeah. Success is nothing but a giant journey. And boy, I tell you, a lot of people seem to have a lot of answers, but every one of us, we're all still guessing and learning at the same time still.
Absolutely. And the thing about success that's interesting is that you can have successes in many, many, many different areas of life. So that's why I love the conversation, because I'm not searching for just entrepreneurs. I'm searching for people who have found success in every area of their life. My last one, we were talking about podcasts and how to create a successful podcast. One of the guys that I interviewed, he has social anxiety, and so he uses podcasting as a way of dealing with it. So success is an amazing, there's so many different levels and areas in which you can be successful. So I'm open to talking to anybody about it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I heard that podcast and it was great. It was good. It was good. It was very unexpected because I was kind of expecting to hear this guy that's kind of meek, but at the same time, he wasn't at all. But yet he explained, right. And you were kind of like, wait a minute, you don't sound like you have anxiety, but he kind of explained his anxiety, to an outsider, and it was totally understandable. It was great. It was good.
Yeah, and that's what I love about it, because to me, he's a success.
Right.
Maybe he's not the podcaster that we all aspire to be as podcasters. We all want to be as big as the next guy, because at least people like you and me, we're trying to pursue things outside of the norm as a career. So we have models. We look up to those models and we say we'd like to be like that. And I'm sure he's the same way. The guest that I'm referring to, his name is Sean Fuller. His podcast is the Horribly Awkward Podcast. And but yeah, he in actual social environments, he has that weird anxiety, but when it comes to podcasting, he uses it as a way of just moving past it. It's brilliant. I mean, I love people with that kind of courage, because fear and all that can really choke you up, and some people will just fade with under that hot light of fear. And people like Sean, they just dive in and face it head on. I love that.
Yeah, that was powerful. What was the thing that sparked you to getting into comedy? Because that's not necessarily an everyday type of thing that people are like, hey, that sounds like something I would really like to get into. What was that spark that interested you?
Well, just like anybody else, I think, it's I'm funny in conversation. I'm funny coming up with stuff and making people laugh. I've always been that way. I've always enjoyed being the center of attention. As vain as that sounds, but it's always fun to make people laugh. I just really enjoyed that. Why I didn't pursue it earlier on in my life, I don't know. Probably because I was trying to be a rock star. But meeting my friend Bob, who's also the co-host on 3 is Comedy, we decided, hey, why don't we do a little podcast? So like in 2014, we started a podcast called Jason and Bob Show, and it was just really fun to use that brand of comedy to bring people to laughter. There's something about making people laugh that is nearly as addictive as it is, entertaining people through song. And also even acting is that way too. There's this joy of being in a character and entertaining people and drawing people in. Laughter is just that contagious as well. And making people laugh was just something that I wanted to try to do. So that's why we created 3 is Comedy.
Is there one thing since you started podcasting that seemed so hard for you to overcome, but you've since conquered it?
Well, for me, I'm continually addicted to results. Pay attention to results way too much. And that has been in the past for me a reason why I've backed out of many, many things, because the results weren't coming maybe as quickly as I wanted them to. So with the podcasts and really with anything, actually, the WTF is Success podcast is really teaching me a lot about this right now. I'm becoming less and less addicted to the results of things, and attracted to the results of things, or attached to them, really. So now I just try to do everything the best that I can. Of course, I pay attention to the results, but that's something that I've had to face and kind of lesson so that I can really enjoy the journey instead of just constantly hoping that one day my podcast is going to be the hugest podcast on the planet.
That's one of the most common things that's going on is we are all looking for results. A lot of people in America, we're looking for results. We want A to equal B because we did whatever was between it. And the thing about podcasting, it's nothing but the journey, And a lot of us podcasters, we get kind of tied up into looking at download numbers, and it's like, It's really not about the downloads. It's not about who's listening. It's about doing what you're actually enjoying during your journey. It
is true. I mean, obviously anything that you want to do, if you want to pursue it as a career, there are other factors you have to keep in mind. Mm-hmm. You have to sell yourself. That's one thing that's really hugely important. You have to keep doing it. You have to keep doing it, and you have to have a plan. All of that stuff is important, and results are valuable in that they'll tell you whether you're on the right track or not. They're not telling you to stop. They're telling you, hey, make an adjustment so that maybe you can go in the direction that you really want to go in. So that's where what I've had to learn is like, okay, use them as a gauge as opposed to the reason to stop or the reason to quit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that advice. That's good. What was your most challenging guest situation, and how'd you resolve it?
Gosh, I haven't had too many. And that's only because we've only had 8. I've only have 8 podcasts on WTF is Success, and now 3 is Comedy. I could say those are challenging because that show's a little bit different in that it's not an interview-based podcast. So when we bring a guest on, we bring them on as a sort of fourth co-host, and then they just become part of the conversation. One time we had 5 people in the room, and that became chaos. We learned very quickly that we never wanted to do that again because Bob, Mindy, and I on 3 is Comedy, we're pretty in sync with each other. We have a pretty good chemistry, so we don't really talk over each other. But when you add an extra person who may not have very good mic skill, or you have 2 other people who just talk a lot, it becomes quite challenging. But WTF is Success, I've had nothing but really great guests so far.
That's good. What one thing in your podcasting are you currently struggling to overcome?
Well, with 3 is Comedy, nothing. We just keep innovating. We keep moving forward. With WTF is Success, the challenge I'm having is actually making the time to do it. Because you and I discussed a little bit before we started that we're very similar in that we get really, really busy. And that's what I tend to do. I've repeated this before. I say it again. You haven't told you yet, but I've said it on multiple podcasts. But one thing I heard, and it's kind of a weird place that I heard it, was Arnold Schwarzenegger said that every time he did a rep, he felt like he was getting closer and closer to his goal. And so for me, I try to constantly be doing reps. I try not to have too much downtime, but then there comes times where I'm way too busy. And that's what's happened the last couple weeks where I've had some really, really busy moments where everything comes together at once. And so that's been my biggest challenge with WTF is Success, is finding the time.
What do you feel is your one biggest podcasting triumph to date?
Oh, wow. Well, we just did that. The biggest triumph, in my opinion, is WTF. 3 is Comedy. We went live, and we're going live on Fridays. To me, that's a huge triumph because it was something that I was wanting to do for a long time. and figuring out the right way to do it, because I'm not someone, the thing about podcasting that's interesting, unlike anything else, there's not really very many places where you can take lessons to learn how to be better at it and learn how to and I'm not going to go to radio. I could go to radio broadcasting, which would teach me a lot of that stuff, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So you learn on your own, and it's taken this long to really figure out the right technology to get and the right gear to get to where we can go live. So for me, that's a huge triumph, and that's beginning now. We're going to be doing live podcasts on Fridays. We do 3 a week, and Fridays will be live.
Oh, cool. Eventually, I'm going to try the live thing because it sounds like a blast. It might be a blast of chaos.
It is. It is a blast, and with 3 is Comedy, we pretty much do live anyway. We've set it up that way so that we could do it live. It's very, very minimal editing on my part, and now there will be none. So we've been preparing for this moment. We've got over 240 podcasts. We've been doing it for a couple years now, so we're preparing. So if you want to talk about being attached to the results, look how long we've been doing it, how many we have. And we're not even close to where we really want to be yet. Mm-hmm. So there's something about just being consistent and doing the hard work that is so rewarding, and it leads to, moments like these where now we can do it live.
Yes, consistency is so key. Yeah.
It's huge, huge.
All right, hang tight, successors. We'll return to our conversation with Jason Galbraith, as well as we'll be back with Quick Success after a word from our sponsors. Are you tired of using a ton of different services to help run your business? Here comes Zenlista to the rescue. With Zenlista, you can connect, post, schedule, and find content from all of your social media accounts. List and auto-update your company listing on over 300 sites and search engines. Generate live leads sent directly to your email. Monitor and manage your reviews and reputation before they're available to the public. See how you compare to your competitors. You can even create landing pages to gain new clients. Along with free one-on-one training after sign-up, Zenlista has all of this and so much more, all in one place. Exclusive for the first 250 listeners, receive 75% off the regular price. Sign up today at the4pos.com/Zen. Again, that's the4pos.com/ZEN. Are you a busy person who works day in and day out? Do you find yourself feeling tense and tired all the time with stress and sicknesses controlling your life, possibly creating a sleep disorder? You know about all the current health topics but don't find the time? Maybe Cedric, Patrick, and Philippe at Bellison can help. Aside from creating modular supplements that can fit your very own needs, you can visit Bellison.com for tons of recipes, health-related articles, and more. Why modular supplements? Modularity is the key because you are not just standard. With standards as high as Bellison, you're buying from a company that helps take care of our environment, doesn't harm animals, and whose products are made of high-quality, premium plant-based ingredients in every capsule. That's Bellison.com. Did you know that you can cook healthy, exercise, and meditate in just 30 minutes a day? Bellison.com. From recipes and supplements to exercise and life hacks to be healthy, Bellison.com has it all. After Bellison, just imagine the immense possibilities you will have as the new you. Go ahead and give Bellison supplements a try. I use them every day, and I feel great, energetic, and focused. Visit Bellison now at Bellison.com. That's BELISAN.com and receive a 10% discount on your first order with coupon code THE4POS. So give them a shot. Compassion and quality without compromise. Bellison.com. And we're back with Jason Galbraith of the 3 is Comedy podcast and the WTF is Success podcast. Now we get into the part of the show I like to call Quick Success, where our guest can inspire you, successors, to enhance your lives and businesses in the areas of knowledge, health, wealth, and spirituality. So, Jason, what are you currently doing to enhance your knowledge?
Oh boy, I am. Well, knowledge. I'm constantly seeking knowledge. With comedy, I'm taking classes at the Groundlings. If you folks aren't familiar with the Groundlings, think of about a third of the Saturday Night Live cast came from the Groundlings in the early days of Saturday Night Live, and still quite a few do. There's a bunch of names, I won't list them all, but I'm doing that to become more educated in the art of improv, and I love it. I'm taking an acting class at the college, another improv class at the college, constantly trying to learn. In regards to podcasting, constantly trying to learning on my own, picking up videos, asking questions, talking to people. And then, of course, the WTF is Success podcast. I'm asking people how they're successful. So I'm actually asking people who have been successful at things.
Excellent. What are you currently doing to enhance your health?
Health. Well, I do. I'm pretty healthy. I try to stay pretty healthy, eat a pretty healthy diet, try to eliminate eating sugars and stuff like that. Of course, I have an addiction to sugar, so I have to be careful with that. But like I used to enjoy a good ale occasionally. I've stopped doing that. As a result of that, I've lost about 10 pounds. Now, I'm not a heavy guy, but I've lost about 10 pounds. And, I try to stay really calm, live in the present moment, and just eat healthy food and exercise. I play tennis. Just to stay as fit as I can. Tennis,
that game always frustrated me because I really enjoy racquetball. But tennis, I felt so ridiculous running around that whole court chasing after that ball.
Oh, man, I love tennis. I love it. I would love to get better at it. It's one of those things I'd love to have more time to do,
What are you currently doing to enhance your wealth?
Well, interesting. I don't know if you heard of Dave Ramsey. My wife and I have gone through the beginning stages of his program, and we used to make a lot of really bad financial choices, which is in part why my success kind of is delayed, because I've spent my money on stupid shit, and and now here I am, reeling in the results of that. So what we've done is we've taken on that program. We're virtually debt-free at this point. We've done some really great financial moves and beginning to invest at this point now, building an emergency savings. So we're in a really, really amazing position financially, better than we've ever been.
Man, that's good. I like to hear that.
Yeah, everybody's addicted to a credit score and having a good credit score, which is a really interesting thing if you really think about it. Credit is just debt. It's proof that you can pay off debt. My goal is to have a 0 credit score. That's my goal. I don't want to have any credit, any loans. I want to pay cash for everything, including vehicles, including homes, all of it. So that's our goal. Yeah.
Man, that's a big goal.
It is. It takes time, but we're close. Just with a little bit of discipline. It doesn't take long at all.
What are you currently doing to enhance your spirituality?
Spirituality. Well, I used to do a lot of yoga. I was a yoga teacher for quite some time. I still utilize those principles. I'm definitely one of those people who likes to read books, spiritual books. I'm currently reading a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So this, for me, is something that I'm constantly doing. I do everything I can to remain in the present moment. It doesn't always work, but I remind myself to come back. And I focus on living in the moment, living in now. Occasionally I meditate. And those are the things that I do to keep myself spiritually sound.
Okay, pertaining to success, what do you feel is one of the best pieces of advice you've received?
Wow. Well, I've gotten a lot of advice from people, but I'm going to use this particular book that I'm reading now. A couple things. One thing that I realized that I have not done well is create a really good plan. In the past, and what I mean by plan, and what Stephen Covey means when he talks about creating a plan, he says basically build it twice. So if you think about building a home, you create the blueprint, and then the house comes later, right? The actual physical house, that's building it twice. So when it comes to our own lives, we build a plan that's based on our values, the things that we really, really value. So if you really, really value, and the example for myself, if you really, really value being creative and doing that as a profession, then you wouldn't end up, you would create a plan that wouldn't make you in the later stages of your life doing a job that you don't want to do, which is the case with me in this moment, right? Mm-hmm. If I had been better at building it twice, then my plan would have been much different. Wouldn't have got into debt, right? Wouldn't have had to spend my money on stupid stuff, and I wouldn't have had to have a regular job. I could have been probably a professional musician by now, right, if I had been a little smarter as a younger person. So my advice to people now is to definitely build a plan. Have a plan that keeps your interests and your values and the things that you find important at the forefront of that plan. And if you do that, you're going to build a plan that's really going to match you in the future. The other thing is do the hard work. I mean, there is no instant success. You've got to really do the hard work, and that's key, So again, not being attached to the results, just grinding it out, doing the work, finding the joy in the work, and take every opportunity that you can to do more of it.
Excellent advice. Yeah, I like that. Are there any modern technologies or anything like that are helping you achieve success?
Oh, absolutely, man. Obviously, podcasting. I mean, what would I do without my computer and my interfaces and these awesome mics nowadays? I mean, think about it. It's like it's easy to create nowadays. So easy to create. So I would say just about every new technological advancement that's come along has made life a lot easier. It's made life a lot more distracting. So you have to be careful how you use it. But if you use it in the right way, it can be hugely powerful. I mean, let me give you an example. I'm in the band Jesse Vaz and the Velvet Rain. We're recording an album. Well, I'm going to record it remotely. He's going to send me scratch tracks. I'm going to record them here in my studio at home and then send them to him, and he's going to put them in his finished product. 50 miles away. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's unheard of because on a side note, we're both musicians, so we know we've been around the block, and I just think about those days of paying $60 to $120 an hour for studio time, and when you're in early 20s, maybe even younger, you don't know where you're getting that money from. You have no idea.
Oh yeah, man! I don't know how much money I've spent needlessly on stuff for a record that's nobody's ever going to hear it again.
Right.
It's incredible. It's
unreal.
Yeah. Now I can spend a decent amount on an 8-channel interface. And then some good mics, and you're talking about under $1,000 that will be useful all the time. I mean, all the time.
All the time. And you can record in your basement, and no one has a clue that you recorded in your basement.
That is absolutely true. So technology, when used in a positive way, can really be beneficial.
Oh, yeah. What one new thing, book, activity, or technology, or skill are you interested in learning and dive into?
Let's see. I would say it's not new to me, but it's not new in the sense that I studied it when I was in high school, but I'm studying it again. It's not technology, but one new thing that I'm learning right now that I'm actually really excited about is acting. Maybe that doesn't help your listeners, but for me, there's something really amazing about it, especially if you get a good teacher and you get a good class, because it not only teaches you about acting, but it's teaching me about, one really huge thing that it's teaching me, and I mess up on this a lot, is it's teaching me how to really listen. Really listen to people, look in their eyes, especially at home. That's helping because I get so distracted. Sometimes I have the most patient wife because she'll be talking to me and it's like I'm not even there at times,
Yeah.
So I have to really be present and remind myself to be present. So not only is this acting class teaching me how to, be an actor, but it's teaching me how to be a better person.
What piece of advice do you think you could give our listeners to help them be a success in whatever they're trying to achieve?
I would say, I'll piggyback off of what I just said. Be present. Be really, really present in your life. That not only does that help your relationships, but it also helps you to hear, what directions that you should be going in terms of a career or in terms of. A lot of times we don't listen to our intuitions, and they're there, but we're not quiet enough, or we second guess them because we're way overthinking it. So if we could just be present and be quiet enough and listening enough, I think we'd all benefit greatly from it. And then, of course, say yes a little bit more. Take chances. Do things that scare you. I think people don't necessarily do that enough. They let their fear rule them. Like my friend Sean Fuller, who was on my podcast. He uses podcasts to to face his fears. There's so many things that scare me. Stand-up comedy. I did stand-up comedy that scares the crap out of me. But I did it, and those are two things. Be present and then do some things that might scare you a little bit.
That was good, Jason. I love that advice you just gave. It was really good. Yeah,
so take a little bit of a chance.
All right, and finally, how can our listeners connect with you?
Well, you can connect with me everywhere. Really simple. I'm on Twitter with both podcasts. There's a WTF is Success, and it is that. WTF is Success. You can find me on Twitter. Also, 3 is Comedy. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook as well, both those names. And you can find me on iTunes, and both podcasts are on Stitcher. And by those names, WTF is Success and 3 is Comedy. And then, of course, I'm on Podbean, which is who I do my hosting through.
All right, Successors, I hope you've enjoyed that conversation we just had with Jason Galbraith. Please check out more successful content like this at the4pos.com, as well as other ways you find your podcasts, all for free. Go ahead and rate and review them as well. Thanks for listening, and prepare for success. Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome. Thank you.
If you want to be more driven and more motivated in your life or business, go to the4pos.com/free book and grab a copy of my book, Indulge Your Affirmative Motivation Within. 25 Motivations of Personal Development and Life Success. Get it now at the4pos.com/free book. Again, that's the4pos.com/free book.